going on? RGIJ is back, baby. Ladies and gentlemen, listeners and viewers, welcome to another episode of the regular G.I. Joe podcast. Mike and I are super stoked today for this episode. We have some fellow New York, Boricua natives, Brooklyn natives. Allow me to introduce our guests. It is Lou and Chris. They are the hosts of the Breeze Shooters podcast. They're on the DTF Radio, Cosa Nostra Network. Correct. Any other platforms, guys?
You can find us on
Social Nostra Network.
Social Nostra Network, okay.
And all major streaming platforms, you can find our show.
Gotcha. Well, welcome to the show, fellas. So I was telling Mike, I've known Lou for a very long time, and I know, Chris, you were telling us sort of your story before we started recording. So let me ask you guys this. So how did you guys come together to start Breeze Shooters? How did Breeze Shooters come about? Like, what set that up for you guys to do that? Because honestly, Lou, I would have never thought you would have been dwelling into that arena there of podcasting. So how did you guys come up with the Breeze Shooters? How did the title come up? Like, to give us the history, give the listeners and viewers the history of Breeze Shooters.
All right, I'll give you the quick...
Go ahead, Jack Wolf. Tell them the history.
I'll give you the quick run-off.
Since you're the brains behind the operation.
I'm everything.
Apparently.
I'm everything.
Oh, my God. Is he driving and recording at the same time?
I hope the cops don't watch this episode.
So basically back in probably 2010, 2011, around there, the podcast game was just being started. And I used to be a big fan of Juan Epstein. Hey, fuck you, Chris. Juan Epstein. And I used to just hear them, and it was just bullshit. All they did was just bullshit, but I was always intrigued by hearing stories and listening to stories. So since I drive a lot for my work, I would listen to a ton of podcasts, and then it just dawned on me. I said, man, I think I could do this, because me and Chris, we knew each other from the basketball courts, but we always, once we hooked up, it was just like two clowns just messing.
Are you guys getting the same?
Yeah.
I'm sorry for the unprofessionalism. When someone's talking, you say, "Excuse me, you animal." So we would always joke around in the courts and make people laugh, and people would just, gravitate to us. And I say, Chris, you know what? We should take that and try to, record ourselves just to see how it goes. Yo, is there a delay? There's a delay, right? I think there's a delay.
On your side, yeah.
Yeah, dude, like...
Lou, you're delayed, Papa. Papa, why don't you park the car and go inside the house where the fucking Wi-Fi is at?
Where the Wi-Fi's at.
I can.
You guys take their time to interview us, and you doing this bullshit, bro?
No, I'm in the middle.
In your fucking car.
I'm in the middle of picking up my son, man. So I'm over here.
Lou's like the guy from the Johnny Depp, one of the witnesses. He was in the car driving witnesses. He's on the Johnny Depp trial, this guy.
All right. Listen, I'm just going to say...
Wherever you at there's a big delay, and half your face looks contorted, whatever. This is horrible.
So, Chris, why don't you say the story while I get my son? And then
no, do it right or don't do it at all.
Huh?
That was a curse.
See, now he wants to have a conversation with his son. You see, this is the thing I have to deal with.
Yeah.
You understand? I try to in front of everybody. I try to prompt him up. This guy's the brains behind the operation.
Right.
But the headaches. I never had headaches in my life. Headaches I get dealing with Lou now. I never got in my life. In my life, I never had these headaches. And then.
Let's do this. It's 7:36.
What, Lou? Let's hear it. Come on.
I'm gonna get my son, and in about 6 minutes, I can jump back on. How about that? I'll jump on from my computer at home. It's just that it started at 7. He wanted to go with his friends. Now he's ready to go back home. So I'm caught in between.
Oh my God! Now, so now, first of all, your son is big enough to walk home alone. That's the first thing. And the second of all, once again, now you're just gonna leave us and just in 6 minutes. Here we go, look.
He got fucking VIP service like that. Like, tell my son to come out.
What? I got 4 daughters, man, and they walk home from the Bronx. I don't give a fuck.
Damn.
Like that's how I raised wolves.
Yes.
I raised wolves.
Yeah, you got to cut that cord, Lou.
Yeah, bro.
Lou's still holding the hand.
Sean is his youngest son.
He's only 11 years old.
He's 6'5".
Animals.
I see the pictures. Yo, we were walking around at 12 years old. I was playing hooky. I was outside till 4 a.m, Papa, in Brooklyn, playing Coco Libre and everything else. 12, 13 years old. You're going to tell me you think mommy was walking me home from Pershing or New York High School or anything?
And by the way, Izzy, they're in the white part of Jersey, the good part. There's nothing to threaten the boy to go home. but he wants to go pick him up.
And you know how I know that? Because he was able to roll his window down and say, "Excuse me, can you tell Sean?" Anywhere in Brooklyn, Bronx, that would have never happened. You ain't rolling no window down to yell for no kid. You had to go inside the school and pick up your kid from there.
Stranger danger. It's service over
here. Is Miss Rafferty coming to bring out your kid?
Listen, I don't think we have the delay anymore. Can you guys hear me?
We're good.
So you know what, Mike? I'm sorry for the extra work, but here we go. So Bree Shooters back in 2010. I was listening to a ton of podcasts, and it was relatively new. Nobody really knew what podcast was all about, except that it was just a good platform to kind of share stories and shoot the shit. So I approached Chris because me and Chris had a good rapport, and we were just always comedians. So I tell Chris, I said, "Hey man, why don't we try to record ourselves and just put it up there to see what goes on?" Chris was like, "Yeah." Chris is notorious for yamming people to death, but nothing ever materialized. So fast forward, maybe 7 years later. I open and close. I approach Chris and I tell him,
"Here we go again.
Don't interrupt me. We got good fucking
Mike, there's more work for you, Mike.
Here we go. So I approach Chris and I say, "Hey, let's do it." And he yells me again. He goes, "Yo, come by tomorrow." So I said, "All right, fuck it." I went. I took my equipment and I went straight to Chris's house and we just set up and the podcast started from there. It was real raw. We didn't have no format, but that's what I wanted. That's for me. I always try to find the funny in everything, and the fact that we were raw, I found it hysterical. And then it started to build up momentum. At the time, it was me, Willie, and Chris, and we would just go there, goof off, pop open a couple of beers, and just share stories, and pretty much just recant stories. And then from there, it started to evolve. Do you mind? I'm doing an interview. And it started to evolve. We started inviting guests, and before you know it, COVID hit.
This is like this.
Yo, Chris, shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up. COVID hit, and we just started inviting guests, and before you know it, the guests started better and better, and then the show just started taking off, and then we got sponsorship. Well, we got one sponsorship. We got onto the Social Notion Network, and from there, we were able to kind of parlay that into a gig on the radio station, and now we're on DTF Radio, and that's pretty much where we're at. We're going on. This October will be 2 years, Chris, or 3 years. I think it's 2 years. We've been doing this for 2 years, and it's been going pretty good. We also
three. We're on. No. 2 years. 2 years.
I'm just gonna drive home. I'm 6 minutes away, and I can jump on.
Yeah.
Safety first, Papa. Safety first.
Yeah. No, I can do it, but it's just the delays.
No, we don't want you. Give the phone. Give the phone to Sean and let him record you as you drive it home. Because
that's thinking outside the box.
This is the way. I'm telling you, I say he's the brains for reality. This is Jedi mind.
Yeah.
There we go, right there. There we go.
He said up from up here.
Right here. From the second cheek, not the first cheek, the second cheek.
Oh shit!
No, easy. Look. When have you seen so much greenery in Brooklyn? No. Never in your life. I'm telling you.
Don't let them see the dresses.
That's beautiful. Papa, we already got you on Google Maps. We can see everything.
That's why I don't like messing with the military.
You guys So Chris, because he's pretty intermittent over here.
So you guys can hear me fine, right?
Yes.
So, yeah, basically, he just like he said. A little recap of what he said. He around 2010, he approached me, and I'm all over. I like to play poker. I'm all over the place.
Right.
Fast forward, and he just showed up, and in my living room we started. You just put up a couple of phones, and we started, and it's so far. It'll be our third year this year. With the podcast around October. It will be our third year. And Lou's a great. He's my brother, man. I love him to death, man. When I came from Puerto Rico, my the mother of my kids and they were homesick. So I would, this was back in this was like in 2000, 2001. So I would send them to Puerto Rico for Christmas and stuff like that, but I had to stay. And Lou always opened his doors up to me and his family, and ever since we just had a great connection, and we make, as you can see, we hold no punches back. We're always joking around with each other, and so when this started, everybody, the most common thing that's said to us is that our chemistry.
Correct.
And with me and Lou, it's like I tell everybody. With me and Lou, it's like it's normal, even if there's no cameras in front of us, because we're always shooting the shit, talking shit, going at each other. You should see our poker games. Our poker games are and if I win, which most of the time I win, his face is priceless. He's always saying that I cheat or something.
He was the same way in basketball. He's a sore loser, man. Sore loser. It was either somebody fouled me when nobody touched him. It was either Big Al made the bad call when he reffed the games. It was always something.
Yes, I think you were a Christian. Obviously, you changed. You were a good Christian man. Obviously,
the Lord's Day.
Something happened along the way, Chris.
But I agree with you 100%, Chris, because I think chemistry is very important in order to do something like this, or even, just radio, even, when you see people on TV, like Joe Rogan's podcast, when he's doing it live on TV and talking to people, like, you really need that chemistry with hosting in order for you to have something there for people to get captured to it. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, Mike started, so the regular G.I. Joe podcast, Mike actually started it back in the days without me. So when he was doing it more, and we sort of kept it the same right now, but it was more towards veterans, just having the veterans share their story of how they transitioned out of the military to the civilian world.
Which is an awesome concept, by the way. Awesome concept.
So he started off with that. So from there, I was one of the people that he interviewed as well. So he kept going on, and then he started noticing that it was just sort of getting harder and harder to be able to have some content and find people to talk to and everything else. So when he reached out to me, I jumped on it real quick. I was like, yeah, it sounds awesome. Let's continue to do it, and we'll still keep it authentic. And that's one thing is, like, with you and Lou, how you have that chemistry is our talking is natural. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not scripted. We don't say anything. Like, we're not writing shit down to be, okay, what we're going to talk about. Everything is from the dome and experience. You know what I'm saying? Because he and I, like I was telling you, Lou, we were stationed in Honduras together. Okay. So that's how me and Mike met. And we basically stayed in touch ever since. But since doing the podcast, him and I, this August will be a year that we've been doing it.
Oh, wow.
But again, man, like, we get on here, when we hit that record button, it's just straight, like you guys, just in sync. Everything's just coming. We feed off each other and everything else. And I think that's critical. Like, you really need to have that. Because if you guys didn't really sync like that, I don't think many audience, subscribers, or listeners, viewers would come and want to see what you guys have to say. And that's the purpose of it, right? Is for us to see what we're telling them, the stories we're sharing, and everything else. Now, when you guys first started, was anything published, or you were just recording just to see how you sounded? What was the...
No, Lou Lou went straight kamikaze. Like Lou, we recorded in my living room where I'm at now, and immediately it went up to YouTube. If you go back to our first episodes, it was only audio. The first 3 or 4. Then we started with the video, and so yeah, he just said fuck it, let's just do it, and he started posting everything, and listen, it's funny because we've come to an agreement that our podcast is organized chaos, because even though we want to try to be as professional as possible, we write stuff down. A couple of months ago, we're talking before we were about to record, and I said, okay, Lou, listen, I want to talk about this. Yeah, Chris, we talk about this. Izzy, nothing that was on the paper we fucking talked about. I went into a rant about fucking Starbucks coffee, and it took half of the podcast and half of the time of the podcast, and then the other half we started talking about nothing that was in the paper, and we had like 3 or 4 topics. Yo, Lou, we gotta hit these topics, okay, Lou? So you lead me in, and we were doing all that production shit. And when we started recording, he asked me how I was doing. I tell him, listen, look, to be honest with you, I'm a little bit upset because I went to Starbucks, and then from there, that Starbucks story snowballed into some shit. So I see where you're coming from, and it's like, and that's the beauty of it. Like you said, it's the beauty of it is that it's two friends talking. They just talking, and you just hit record.
Yeah,
but
that's what happened. You know.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
As of right now, yes.
All right.
Yes, as of this minute, you're good.
My Wi-Fi, so you should be good. No, but no, everything Chris said is absolutely true. But it's just, I want to lift the curtain a little bit. I do have a game plan. I do have a series of questions, because what happens is sometimes you'll go a direction and it kind of dies out. So you got to have something to go somewhere else, or I'll have a general idea what we're going to talk about. And then, but if Chris comes up with a funny story, part of it is kind of just falling back, let that story evolve and see if it can take us somewhere else. If not, then we'll go back to our script. But generally, because the thing is, when you're on the radio, you got 55. Well, for our show, we got 55 minutes. So I always tell Chris, the worst thing we can do is have dead air. We want to make sure that we have stuff to talk about. So I go in there with like a little template, and we'll use it. Sometimes we'll go through that template in 2 minutes. And I'm like, shit, what we're going to talk about? But me and Chris, the chemistry's there. We'll stumble on something, or we'll just start going back and forth, making fun of each other, and it'll evolve into something else. But you're right, though. The chemistry piece is very important, because you got to be able to bounce off each other. And Chris knows when I'm drowning, I don't got nothing. Then he'll go into the wonderful thing about Chris is that Chris is a superintendent. And he's in a building where
resident manager,
everything,
resident manager, please.
Resident manager. We call him a slumlord. But he has stories for days. The only thing is just that Chris suffers from memory loss. So sometimes, certain words trigger certain things, and then he'll be like, "Oh, I got a story," and he'll jump right into it.
Yeah.
And
HIPAA laws, bro. You can't be telling I got memory loss over the air like that. This HIPAA laws apply.
You never got to diagnose. You never got to diagnose.
You never got it done, so it doesn't count as a violation. He's good.
Right now, it's just a butcher. You're telling me.
So even at the beginning, were you guys always writing talking points and then sharing it before you guys hit record? Like you gave each other the 411, like, hey Chris, I'm gonna start off with this, and then Chris is like, okay, I'm gonna come with this story. Like you guys do that? You did that? And
Izzy, it's funny you say that. I tried that for the first 5 shows. I realized Chris is only half there. He turns on and he doesn't listen to anything I say. I don't even send this guy emails no more. I go with my agenda, and that's how it works. Sometimes he's like, hey, I want to squeeze this in. I said, I'll see if I can get 2 in. But he doesn't pay attention to the show. He doesn't pay attention to the show. Like if I don't call him, that's it. There's no show. You're Oh my God. Yo, we've been doing this 3 years on fucking Monday. How the fuck you forget? And it's in your house. It's in your house.
It was funny. I was watching one episode on the DTF radio, and you started off with, it's only me because Chris has an appointment. I was like, you got an appointment starting the show? You got to call in and be like, yo, I got a doctor's appointment. I can't make it in today. No sacrifice, man. No sacrifice.
He tells me 2 hours before the show, he goes, hey, Lou, I had this appointment. I thought if I got to the appointment an hour earlier, they'll see me. Because the world is on Chris's schedule.
Right.
Goes, hey, I know it's kind of short notice, but maybe you can get somebody else to fill in for 2 hours. We're on the other side of Brooklyn. So you need a train, a plane, and a scooter to get to where we report. I go, yeah, Chris, yeah. I hang up on him. So what an asshole. I throw the phone. And then big show, he goes, hey, how's it going? Why are you going to the show? If it was that important, you would be there. You fuck.
That's the worst. I can't stand when people do that. Like, you don't commit, and then you got the nerve to call and say, "Yo, how's it going?"
Okay, hold up, because I have to.
Here comes the spin.
I don't want to call it defending myself because I'm not defending myself.
What is it then?
It's stating my truth.
Defending yourself.
That's the definition.
I called him. Our show is at 4:00. I called him at 11:47. So it's actually 4 hours.
No.
And I told him, I said, Lou, I'm gonna do my best to get there, but have a as you military people know, have an exit strategy. Have plan B.
Correct, so, absolutely.
But he, he'll because he gets all his panties in a bunch, I'll talk to you later, Chris.
I did that, you lying fuck. All I said was that this is more motivation for me to replace you. And the replacement, I'll pick Chris. I told her, I said, hey, listen, you may have a job real soon. Because your looks, my skills, we could probably go somewhere. This fat faster than dragging me back. So
that's crazy.
This is the money maker. Don't ever forget that.
Where did Breeze Shooters come from? The title itself, like, why did you guys name it that podcast? What is that?
So what I did was I said, hey, Chris, we should call it Shooting the Breeze. And then I looked online. A couple of people had that, Shooting the Breeze. So we just changed the words around. Chris wanted to go with something else, but then after a while, kind of sunk in. Goes, yeah, I can do it. And that's how.
Yeah, at the beginning, I thought we needed something more catchier, but I really wasn't seeing it. A Breeze Shooter. I really wasn't like. I guess I didn't give it a chance right off the bat. So I was looking at like something catchy because our podcast is comedy based. So I wanted something like 2 fat guys and a hooker, or
1 fat guy, 1 skinny guy,
and 2 fat guys and some coke. I wanted something, I wanted something catchy. Ruffle feathers. but Lou said Breeze Shooter, and then we did like a little. We asked a few people, Breeze Shooters is cool. I said, I guess this motherfucker, we gotta stay with Breeze Shooters, man. Fuck this shit. But he says I have memory loss. It's quite the opposite.
Here we go.
I'm like.
And by the way, he's cheating right now. He's on that Joe Rogan Alpha break. So he's
another HIPAA violation.
He's cheating right now.
I'm on high alert, man. And the thing is, I drink it and I start watching like Navy SEAL shit. So I'm ready. I'm ready. I think I'm ready.
You would have been a good soldier. We could have used them.
So the thing is, shit.
He got the bootleg one. It's a Joe point.
You just proved Lou's point, man.
Mike got a fucking migraine. I might say this. I'm gonna have to cut this shit up really, really good, man.
No, we're leaving this all the way it is, the way it goes. It's always raw, man.
We're about authenticity. We're about authenticity, Chris. Authenticity.
The thing is, quite the opposite of what Lou says. Lou tells me, yo, Chris, we're gonna interview this actor. Like we interviewed a guy from Breaking Bad, Bitsui. Bitsui was his name?
Jeremiah Bitsui.
Jeremiah Bitsui. So Lou says to Chris, you know, and he'll send me, which by the way, it's been like a few months. You don't send me bios no more.
It's a waste of time. It's a fucking waste of time.
So he sent me a bio. Chris, read them up, you know, come up with a couple of questions or whatever. So I'm like, the fuck I gotta? I'm like Rain Man, but normal. I'm Rain Man, but normal. And the thing comes up, and you know, my questions are better than Lou's, which he wrote down and fucking researched and all that.
Yeah, he did the Wikipedia.
Listen, I'm gonna make a little side bet with you. I'm gonna lift the curtain on Chris right here. Total exposure. Right?
Don't do it.
Total exposure. And
let's go. Don't hold back.
So let's say, for example, you're our guest, and I'm like, hey, Israel, tell me about your recording in this film. You know, what were some of the struggles to prepare for this role? The actor will then come back and he'll tell me everything. Chris will come right after me and goes, hey, Izzy, any struggles with the show? He'll repeat what the fuck what I just said. So if you look at our shows, it's double entendres on fucking questions. He's saying the same shit over, and I'm inside. And in the beginning, it was to burn me up, and then after a while, I go, it's a joke. It gotta be a joke for the people. Why? How do you not know? He's saying the same thing over and over. And then he goes,
but he's not rewording nothing. Like it's the same
thing. He just consolidates. And then he looks at me and winks like he's like doing a great job. Look at that question, boy. You didn't see that coming. Fucking
journalist, bro. He's a good investigator.
He's mad because when I pose a question, I get a more heartfelt answer, more, you know, the guests connect to me. So he gets mad. I understand, you know, he does his homework. There's some people in this world that are gifted. Unfortunately, I'm one of those people. I'm gifted. I don't need to read to know shit. I just know shit. And he gets upset.
It's by design.
Yeah.
So down in Florida, there's this guy, Dan Levitar. He used to be on ESPN. And he had a show where he plays like kind of the straight guy, and he has his sidekick, Stu Gotts. A lot of the stuff or a lot of the ideas that I get are from those guys. They have their show on ESPN, but they have a podcast. And Stu Gotts is just like Chris in terms like he doesn't give a fuck. He's a gambler. He just shows up and he'll repeat what Dan does. So it's kind of, that's pretty much our stick. And, you know, Chris kind of falls without even knowing. Chris kind of falls. So I can't even give him credit how he lives his life. He doesn't give a fuck. He knows up. So I just go with it. And it evolves. And it is.
Who the fuck is Dan Leotard?
Because God forbid you look it up, you'll mess up what we got going on.
Now, how did the guest come about? Was that your guys' concept always? Like you wanted your podcast to evolve to where you were able to have guests? Or were you just looking to be like, let's just talk, publish it, and just see where it goes from there?
The guests were just like, you know, it was a plus. Initially, it was just me and Chris, and I said, you know what? All right, this is how it started. We started, me and Chris had this ongoing competition where we play different sports and we record it and we post it. So then one day we said, hey, we should call all the guys who play ball to vouch who's a better ball player. And it started from that. And then we started noticing, hey, guys want to be on our shows. And it would just call just to kind of rip me and Chris. And me and Chris would just put the phone. And Chris will put, we even did a Sunset Has Talent. We had people call in that don't they can sing, tell jokes. And it just started to go from there. And I was like, hey, you know what, Chris, maybe we should try interviewing people. And then Freshco, I don't know if you remember Freshco, he's from Sunset Park. He had a rap album. We kind of started with him. Then we went to another guy from Sunset, J.W. Cortez. And then it just started to pick up momentum. Then we got guys from Breaking Bad, Mayan MCs. And we had, what's his name, Orlando Molina from Next Friday, American Me.
Little Puppet.
Little Puppet. Had,
EFN
from the Drink Champs podcast. And we, this week we got Dita Puente. So it just started to evolve because it was like whenever we upped the name and we got lucky, we got somebody that opened the door for us to get another person, and so on and so forth. So
yeah. But that was you guys doing your own connecting, like networking to get those guests?
First of all, I knew him.
Damn.
JW Cortez, I knew him. And then from there, we kind of used those names to kind of open the door to meet other people. But it's all just, it's cold calling folks. They're like, hey, this is what we got. Are you interested?
A lot of legwork. By Lou, by the way. Well, I do
you heard this? He repeated what I just said. It happened live. It's beautiful. It happened live.
I'm trying to give you props, you fucker.
I'm just trying to say
that's awesome, man.
Yeah. No, so regarding the interview, there's definitely Lou just shooting a shot. You know what I'm saying? And it's working lovely. As a matter of fact, the Mayan NC guy that we got, he's on the same boat as you. Yeah, the same boat as you guys. He's also a veteran, and he his podcast is around that type of
right. He actually is. When we're done, I'll shoot you his info. Reach out to me. He does a lot of stuff for veterans coming home. He raises money for them. He helps them.
Yeah.
He's really
awesome.
Good. He's originally from Cali, but now he lives up in Utah. But you could get him on Zoom. He's very reachable. He's really good dude to know.
Real cool dude. As a matter of fact, his father. If you follow boxing, you've seen his father 100 times, a million times. Because his father's a legendary cut man.
What's his name?
Rocco. It's Rocco Vargas.
Rocco Vargas is the dude. His father is
oh wow.
Yeah, there's a book that's it's by another author, but he has like a chapter where he talks about his time in, because he was a ranger, and then he was also border patrol. So like he's really big in the veteran community, especially with like the Black Rifle guys, like those guys in those areas where he did a movie. I think he just wanted to start acting. He has like a children's book. Like that's kind of the the concept of a lot of things that we're doing right now is like he's one of the examples of like he has a liquor store, I think it is, or he has a drink. He has like a barber shop. Like, he's just one of those ones where they've applied what we learned in the military and applied it to the business world, and then at the same time just being a good person and paying it forward to everyone else.
Oh, yeah, humble dude, great dude. And listen, he loves tacos, man. So you start off with that.
Yeah. He loves tacos. When we walked away from that interview, I was so impressed, man. He's such a great dude, so down to earth, and you'll be surprised. Like when you reach out to him, he gets back to you. He'll respond. I mean, he's really busy. He has like 6 kids, and I think on the weekends he has his kids. But I mean, I'll definitely give you his contact information. Reach out to him, really good dude. And in addition to that, he also has an album. He's doing a country music or something like that. Really good dude, yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he's in Utah.
He's in Utah, right? He lives in Utah.
Yeah, because I watch the Mayan show and I see him on there. He's it's a really good show. But it's interesting that you say that, because that's the reason why we also do what we do with this podcast, is because we try to keep it veteran friendly as well. So most of our guests that we've had on are known by association, but we always try to use the platform to share those stories, what the struggles they went through, because a lot of times, man, like I be on these social media groups of military, and a lot of them are just portraying mental health issues. They're alone, they're isolated, because it's not the same world, so when you're in the military at such a young age, you're sort of structured on this is how your world is, because when you get into that installation at base, it's basically a city of its own. Like, you don't need to leave the base to fucking do anything. They have housing on the base. They got stores on the base. They got food on the base. Like, everything is there. So when you're doing that for so long, you build a brotherhood, a sisterhood. You build this camaraderie amongst all your people, and they now become your family. So after you do so many years and you get out, that transition is difficult, because now you don't have that structure no more. You're listening to civilians try to tell you how it is, and you're like, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense, So a lot of times they feel so isolated, and that's why we, me and Mike, like we try to use this to put them on and be able to share that story and be able to reflect on what they go through. And, hopefully the veterans listen, and if it can help one person, then we're doing something good. You know what I'm saying?
You're not lying, because I remember my time when I was working summer youth. I was working at Fort Hamilton Army Base. And for me, being from Sunset Park, like the barrio, you go over there, it was a different world. Everything is clean. Guys used to let me go into the PX. They would buy stuff for me. I was like, a whole meal for $1.50. I said, shit, I'm never leaving this place. This
awesome. The prices, there's none more like that. But it was fucking inflation right now.
You know what it is also? Go ahead, Lou. I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, that the way I see it is, they have an outlet. You gotta talk to these people, because you don't know. I think mental health is big, so they have an outlet. When they speak to you, it's an outlet. Maybe they're letting something out that they need to let out. They might give them a few more days to organize their situation. So anything that has to do with like what Rocco's doing, what you guys are doing, is important. Especially, I don't like the way veterans are treated after they serve the country.
Right.
You understand? I don't like, and every time I see a documentary or it's heartbreaking, because it really is.
Right.
How is it that you risk your life for this country, and then you come back and you don't have the necessary resources to, So it's tough, and I personally appreciate I'm very appreciative of you guys' service, and when you guys do things like this, it means a lot.
And that's why we wanted to have you guys come on, just to be able to expose breach shooters to them, so that way it gives them another outlet for them to listen to the laughter, have some laughter in their life, listen to the interviews that you guys are doing, like with Gilly. Let him share his story, and they could hear that, how this veteran made something of himself. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm sure he probably has struggles too
100%.
when he transitioned out. So be able to expose as much as we can. Like we had a guest on here that doing their own podcast, YouTube channels, and they're veterans. So it allows these veterans who are, like I said, isolated and everything else, to be able to go now to their channels and see what they're doing and give them that hope. You know what I'm saying? Like, to say, we're not alone in this. Even though the struggles are real and we're going through obstacles and everything else, but we can make something of ourselves, because look, Izzy and Mike, look what they're doing.
Exactly.
Look what our buddy Marcus is doing. Look what our buddy Nick is doing. Look what the twins are doing. You know what I'm saying? They could go on breach shooters and say, oh shit, look what Gilly's doing. You know what I'm saying? Came from nothing. Now he's entrepreneur. He's an actor. He's doing also. And I'm sure there's a multitude. I mean, look at Morgan Freeman. He was ex-Air Force. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't know.
You know what I'm saying? And look at how big he is. You know what I'm saying? And there's so many celebrities that are pro-military, which is great. And to be able to have them come on, like your guys' show or any platform on podcast or YouTube or anything like that, to be able to share those experiences, it really helps, man. It really does.
And that's one of the things that me and Lou, that was the main, our main goal was to make people laugh. I love to. I'm an asshole. I joke around. I'll joke around with everybody.
Right.
I just meet you. I'll joke around. But my thing is, I wanna make you laugh. I want you to make me laugh. I want us to laugh together. And it's in this world that it's upside. All you guys have negativity is upside down. Right. Me and Lou, being the jerk offs that we are, joking around about everything, because we joke around about everything. My girl tells me, Chris, you don't think you? I said, listen, I could talk about Cosby, I could talk about R. Kelly, I could talk about but it's fucked up what they did. Mm-hmm. But if we can't make fun of it, or make light of it, it's not about the victims. No, God protect the victims, and I don't want this out. I got 4 daughters and 9 grandkids. I don't want none of that to happen to none of my kids. But
absolutely.
You know what? Let's try to make some fun, some joy, because you turn on the TV, 99% of the things is all fucked up shit.
It's negative,
yeah, negative. So me and Lou, we get on and did he freeze in that sexy pose? Look at his lips.
Yeah, no, he looks like Zoolander.
Oh my god, that's that night caller look.
Who are you stalking now, Lou? Who are you stalking now, Papa? It's nighttime. Did you think that the sun was you still in the car?
Like he's like a step and repeat. It's just going. Wait a minute, come on, bro. You know, it's only a 45-minute show, and you're there for 30 minutes on one question.
Yo, don't make
your impediment.
Don't make fun of my impediment, bro.
Yeah, if it's not documented,
that's another HIPAA violation, man. Now with DTF Radio and Social Costa, you guys are contracted, or how does that work? How do you guys deal with that?
We work for food.
If you're So Social Nostra Network, it is what it is. It's a network of podcasts. And it's like, so what happens is, the Social Nostra Network, you have several podcasts that kind of filter through one avenue. And so what it does is it increases your exposure. Kevin Perkins, who's the head of the Social Nostra Network, what he does is he pushes.
No, we can see you.
We can see you.
Well, now we can't see you. He just hung up. That fucking guy. Pay your bill, fucker.
He should have put the aluminum foil on that shit.
So, continue what he was saying. The Social Nostra Network is good because what he does, he pushes. And I think, I'm not 100% sure, but if your podcast is still veteran related with it, I think that'll be the first. I don't think we have. And he has quite a few. He has, I want to say like 10, 8 or 10 podcasts. And definitely you want to look into it because it's exposure. And there's whatever it's like a 50-50 whatever money he makes, it's 50-50 regarding ads and stuff. But it's definitely a good, like I said. See, we interviewed DJ EFN, and he told us that, because Lou asked him, what would you, give me, throw a gem this way or whatever. He goes, don't stop. Keep moving forward and try to bring something to the table that it's not out there.
Right.
And even though that you guys, you might have a couple of vet podcasts out there, it's still something that needs some light to be shined upon. So with me and Lou, there's a whole bunch of fucking shows of people, comedy shit. But we're trying to mix it up. Now we bring those interviews. Our second interview with DJ EFN, I think it was something like we're having now. It flew because the thing was, it was a reschedule. And you back?
Yo, why he looks like the murder death row poster. He looks like the Murder Inc.
You're being very unprofessional.
Y'all talking about New Jersey? That's why he's trying to show like he's still from the hood.
He said he's still from the hood. You ain't from 45th Street, dude. You ain't from Sunset no more, Papa.
Continue.
You live in the Brady Bunch.
Explain to him about the Social Nostra.
Yeah, I've been gone for 10 minutes and you couldn't explain that exactly.
I did.
Step and repeat. Listen.
I did.
No, so Izzy, all it does is just really it allows you to work with other podcasts to get your podcast more exposure.
Yeah.
That's what it really comes down to. And he does all the legwork in terms of you record your podcast, send it to him, and he'll put it up on multiple platforms. Now,
gotcha.
The con with that is just that he's getting the views. So what we have is called a revenue sharing deal. So if he could get enough views on, let's say Spotify, and now he starts getting endorsements. Whatever endorsements he gets, he chops up the pie, and it goes to all the podcast shows. Of course, he gets his cut and covers any expenses he has. So the mindset is that over time, his name will get so strong, Social Nostra Network, that it will start getting advertisement on all these different platforms, therefore generating revenue for all the podcast shows on there.
Is DTF Radio similar? Is DTF Radio like...
No. So
are you slotted? You guys are slotted on a certain time that you got to provide some outlet or something?
Yeah, so every Monday from 4 to 5, that's our show. That's the Breeze Shooter show, and that's something totally different. So what we do with our podcast is that we put it on DTF Radio that streams on the internet radio. And in addition to that, we'll put it up on YouTube, Facebook. And after we promote our show on these several platforms, then we'll give it to Social Nostra. And we're like, hey, do what you're going to do with it. But we try to generate our own traffic so we won't have to filter through somebody else. You understand?
Right,
so we're trying to play. We're playing both sides of the coin. We're trying to see which one can hit to try to generate our revenue stream.
Also, Lou, correct me if I'm wrong, but if I don't think Social Nostra, I don't think Kevin has there's like a military-based podcast, like that theme-based podcast. I don't think there's like a military. You understand what I'm saying? Like what?
No.
Their main concept.
I think you're right.
So it's a good. It might be a good look. Like Lou said, just look into it. Right. I don't think there's much. I don't think there's a lot to lose because at the end of the day, what you guys are looking for is exposure.
Yeah. Right. Well, I think
it's no looking into it. You tell me you want to be on there, I give your name, you're on. That's it. It's that simple.
Damn.
Yeah. This guy's not acting like who I am.
Izzy, hold on.
I'm in Brooklyn right now.
If you're ready,
I make the call.
Izzy, if you're ready, shoot me a text. Shoot me a text if you're ready, Izzy.
Okay.
No, you're gonna be on the same conversation for 3 months. Get it out.
No.
If I was down,
wait, is that why when I message the Breeze Shooters on the Facebook, it's only Lou that's on it? Chris ain't on it because he won't answer me back.
No. He wow, you see, this is the problem that we have. This is the fucking problem we have. First of all,
I thought the Breeze Shooters on the Facebook Messenger was both of you guys. And Lou's like, nah, it's just me. It's only me.
It is both of us. It's just, sometimes I let Lou, take care of stuff, and sometimes I take care of stuff. But it's both of us. No, I
It's funny though. On the streets, we get a lot of guys like rappers and stuff that want to come on the show. So they go to Chris, and I know Chris for a fact is milking me. Bro, we're on the radio. That costs money. So, when you talk to me, things happen, and, what happens. Yeah. And then they come on, and I got to interview these guys. And I don't know what the hell to tell them, because they don't even have like a whole song. It's like one freestyle. It's like 3 bars. I'm like, Chris, how do we talk about that for an hour? So I'm like, hey, what do you do? What do you do? What do you work at?
Yeah. Now, besides DTF and doing the podcast off that you guys do, you guys still have regular jobs, yes?
Lou does.
Okay.
I live off my beauty, as you can see.
Diablo,
so, this is just happens.
Yeah, that takes time. Damn, Lou.
No, we both got jobs.
Okay. Good, man. You guys still playing ball? At least Lou, no? I gotta be honest with you guys. I love the fact that you guys still do the Sunset reunions, man. It's coming up, and we got beautiful, bro. We got something nice planned for that. I've been wanting so bad to try to make it out there just for one, because a lot of those cats I used to play with, like Boom Boom and everything else. So, Mike, Sunset Park was the area that we used to play basketball. We had 53rd Street as well, but Sunset Park had this gym, and one of our mutual friends, his name is Al, he used to run it. It used to be like a Kono league, a police athletic league, and things like that. So they called it the dungeon because it's like if you knew how to play, like a lot of cats from everywhere would come, from their boroughs, whatever, their block. They would show up there and be bawling all the time. So after I joined, I don't know as much, but every time I used to go back home, that park has changed. Like I don't see the same cats I used to bowl with over there. Like 53rd is dead. Like there's hardly nobody.
It's all chinos. It's all chinos.
Yeah. And when I go to Sunset, like I'll see some here and there, unless if I'm texting them, be like, hey man, you guys want, like I'll text Waldo or whatever, be like, hey, you guys want to meet up to play basketball, whatever, and we'll go out there. But it's crazy that you guys still do the reunions and stuff like that. That's beautiful.
That's all. Boom. Yeah. And last year he said it was gonna be the last one. I said, Boom, I'll be honest with you. I don't think you should stop doing it.
Yeah, you should.
But if it doesn't affect your family or don't, because you see people you haven't seen in years.
Right.
and you get to catch up, and like I have, there's people there I haven't seen like in 20 years. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So, but it's great. It is good, and this year is gonna be. Me and Lou got something planned. God willing, it pans out. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, because I saw that you guys did one episode there live, that you guys were out in the courts with them. You interviewed Big Al and everything else or whatnot. So I thought that was fucking dope. I thought that was pretty cool that you guys did. Then I definitely want to come out there and make it. But I was telling Mike too, I was like, yeah, it must be a New York East Coast thing. Like, you don't call your friends by their first name. Everybody had a fucking nickname. Everybody had an alias, like a Chepe, a Gato. Everybody was big too. Big Chris, Big Lou, Big Al. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was telling Mike, I was like, yo, I don't know if it's just a New York thing, but you rarely, like me, Halo, Raelo. But the only reason why these non-speaking Spanish call me Halo was because they didn't know how to say Jaelo. So they would say Ohalo. So that was like the alias. But I was like, why is that? Why we do nicknames like that to us?
Because y'all New York people are weird. That's why.
No, you want to laugh. So I don't know if you remember this guy. His name is Twinkie. He's from Sunset Park. But his real name is Felipe. But I gave him that name one day. We were messing around, and I think he was eating like a snack. I said, hey, Twinkie. And it just stuck for like 30 years. So fast forward, I see this guy with his family, and what do you think I call him? Not even thinking, just
Twinkie.
Twinkie, what's up? His wife and kids are like, what? Twinkie? Like, dude, you know what the fuck you just did? They will never die now.
You took his man card. You revoked his man card.
Oh shit!
Yeah, the names always stuck, man. Like I said, Boom Boom, Big Al, Waldo. You had all these plethora of fucking nicknames, and never once was somebody called. When I joined the military, they were like Israel. I was like, what the fuck? Because I was still stuck, on the Hollow is whatever the case may be. But I was like, it must be a New York thing. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you. Why do you always give out nicknames and then like you always say their nickname and then you always say their street they're from? Like even in the movies, it's like they got that 100% right how y'all are. Even to this day, even that Twinkie always like Twinkie this street. Like it's always like you have to like here's their nickname and here's the validation that they're from this area.
Well, you know what it is, Mike? When you grow up in a Spanish neighborhood, my name is Louis. There's like a million Louises, so that's how the nickname thing just came about. Because you'll have 1,000 Jose's, a million Angels, and it's like when I'm talking about when I grew up as a kid, no lie, there was about maybe 40 kids my age. Like we had some crazy kick-ass games, like kick the can. So if you put Jose, you're gonna have 13 kids come for the can. So you would have to make different nicknames, That's just
when Lou, we called him Bicocho from 43rd Street.
Why was that his name? Why was that his name?
Bicocho, it's a little cake.
Oh, Lou. We're gonna get into why I got that name.
Let me ask you this. So where do you guys want to see the podcast going from here?
So November this year, we're going to be in a movie. Me and Chris got a nice part. It's called Daddy of the Year. It's an Alex Hugo film. We're excited about that.
Awesome. Congrats.
We were just part of the Bully trilogy film.
I saw that.
Awesome. The Rico story. We had a very small scene in that. But ultimately, to answer your question, what we want to do is we want to see if we could parlay this into like a sitcom show. So right now, we're part of Deja Vu Television. Our first season is up there. But with the podcast, but we really don't see traction in that. So I want to write a sitcom for me and Chris. And, it's about two Latin guys. Pretty much it's like a reboot of The Odd Couple, but it's going to be...
Gotcha.
It's about two Latin guys.
That's going to be good. Yeah.
And
have y'all thought about doing it yourselves? Man. Like, y'all do it on y'all's own YouTube? Like, I mean, there's so many things you can do with the phones now. Especially if y'all have kids. Like, they can become... Like, I look at that concept and sit there and say, like, okay, A, you could do it on your phones, but B, could you give it to your kids that are probably more technical? And then now they have a job. Now they can have kind of like a technical skill. And just instead of like almost like wanting to produce, like you can produce it yourself right now. And then kind of like what y'all have done now, somebody likes what y'all do and y'all pick y'all up and y'all go further.
No, Mike, you're 1,000%. And from time to time, I try to pull our kids in. The thing with me and Chris is that I live all the way in Jersey. He lives in Brooklyn. So it's like getting to a location. And not only that, but like with the sitcom, we would have to have like the props, the setting, and all that. From time to time, Chris does have the luxury where we could kind of use an empty apartment. However, we still have to furnish it to make it look like something. So that's where somebody like a studio could come in, like a Deja Vu. They actually have a warehouse, and we could probably set something up where they have like a setting for us, and it'll be more realistic. But I was thinking that, you know, I wanted to do like a web series first and kind of like spin it off. But, you know, like right now we're just playing with the idea. I think the key thing is step one for us is just to get the script going. Once we get the script going, then maybe we could bring in some more folks that can kind of help us out. Because what I'm learning now with me and Chris is just it's too much to try to do by yourself. You got to bring in other folks that have, you know, knowledge in those fields to help you kind of like, you know, do a nice project. So in addition to the sitcom, I'm also trying to work on a documentary. I don't know if you remember Pepper from Sunset Park. He used to be a flyweight boxing champion. So you know he had like some, you know, he has a really good story in terms of, you know, his path to get to that point. How he lost his title. So right now I'm working on that. So I want to use that as like kind of my leaping board to kind of get into the sitcom. I'm trying to get some camera guys to work with us. But the thing is just getting people that are reliable and that are free. It's just selling them on, hey, this is what we're trying to build. Why don't you come along for the ride? Maybe
try to be a part of it.
End, you know? So it's just, you know, but once we get that team in place, I think things will start happening for us on that front.
Yeah, but I think that's great because that's something that you guys are both passionate about. You know what I'm saying? You're not just doing it just to do. Yeah. You guys are both passionate. I know Chris is passionate because he would not have stuck with you this long. It would not have three shooters would not have been where it's at.
I get him every time. I tell him, I say, hey, there may be money there down the line. Then he comes back.
Yo, for 3 years now, because he knows, you know, I'm a hustler. Yeah, for 3 years he's been dangling that carrot in front of the donkey. I can't fucking get the carrot. This is the last year, motherfucker. Yeah. If I don't see no paper.
If it don't happen this year, it is the last year. It's the last year. I'm so serious. I'm moving on to something else.
No, but I think it's great that you guys are doing the Breeze Shooters. I love watching the episodes. I'm always constantly laughing. I like the fact that you have guests. And so what I know, Chris told me like DJ EFN gave you some gems. What gems can you guys provide for us and upcoming people that are in podcasting and things like that? Like what tips or advice will you give us?
I'm an advocate for anybody that wants to do it, especially in your world. If you have veterans coming home, it's very therapeutic, man. You kind of talk through your issues, your problems, your goals, and just putting it out there. It leads to other things, or you connect with other people and you could build on stuff. I think a lot of times folks, they bottle up stuff and they don't let it out. Like I didn't know I had this creativity until late into life. And I feel like it was something that I always kept inside because, as you know, we come from a neighborhood where when you say something, guys are going to automatically make fun of you or knock down your dreams or aspirations.
Correct.
But
absolutely.
Podcasts, dude, it's like, fuck everybody. I'm in my house. I got my phone. I hit record. And I'm going to just start talking. And off that, you could build something. And like I said, it's very therapeutic. So that's my goal. That's my, my little tidbit for you guys. Continue doing what you're doing. If it makes you happy, continue doing it. And you don't know. And don't be scared to knock on any door. That's the other thing. A lot of guys are like, oh, that guy's in Sony or this. No, knock on the door. The worst they're going to tell you is no. Trust me.
Correct.
Chris knows I'll take 30 shots at different people and they'll all say no. But that one person that says yes, I'm as high as I can be.
Right.
And then I'll go back to those 30 people and say, look, asshole, we got this guy. And I'm going to go to another person.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I don't know if it was Wayne Gretzky or Jordan said it. So one of those jerk folks said it.
But he's repeating what somebody said.
Piggybacking on what Lou said, also now this is the real jewel, not what Lou just said. The real jewel is this.
This is the real jam right here. He did this shit right now.
be consistent. Be consistent.
That's
and
big.
Keep putting that is big. And keep putting content out there. I think the content, at the beginning, I would look at Lou, because Lou was, Chris, let's just put it out. And I'm over here, Lou, but the sound doesn't sound too good. The video was kind of crazy. He goes, Chris, let's just put it out there. Fuck it. Put it out there. The more you put out there, the way I see it, do you know Willie? You know Willie, Will? Green Eye Willie? Does he know Willie, Lou?
Yeah, he knows.
I don't think so. Maybe if I saw his face.
Willie started with us. He was just like, he was eye candy for our one woman viewer. But with Willie, we would be here in the living room and we would just put stuff out. So basically, just stay consistent, keep putting stuff out, and you will see. Like, I'm lucky I got Lou. I'm lucky I got Lou, because if it wasn't because of Lou, I would have. But I see the problem with me and with most of us is that if we don't see immediate, you start getting anxious and this is not
right.
Lou stood on his course, and I said, oh shit, he got this guy. Oh shit, he got this guy. Oh, Chris, look, I got a sponsor. We got shirts from one people. We got hoodies from another. Then it's just consistency and put the content out there. No matter what it is, just put it out there. Because like Lou said, your platform means a lot also, because you're trying, who knows? I'm not trying to. You might be saving lives. You don't know a person who called you or you interviewed. He let something out, and and now he's able to breathe. So my gem, my jewel, which is the one that you guys should listen to, is be consistent and keep putting content out there.
Chris, that was a good jewel. It's like I look at it as like a show on TV. That show that you watch airs every Monday at 7:00. You ever watch a show really closely and for some reason they're not on that week? You're like disappointed, like, yo, what the hell happened?
That's wrong,
like mid-season break. That's what the podcast game is. You got to give your product to your guys at the same time each week. They got to rely on that, and that's how you develop consistency and you develop listeners that are constantly going to come back. But if you're like, all right, I'm going to post Monday, then post Wednesday, people don't like that. They like routine. They like to know when they're going to consume your product. So you have to stay consistent.
Always. We're creatures of habit. Yeah. So if you give us a steady dose every Monday, every Wednesday, every Friday, if you give us a steady dose, we're going to be paying attention to that. We're going to be, okay, oh, it's Monday. Oh, it's Wednesday. Oh, this is Izzy and Mike on. Oh, it's what Lou said. I don't want to repeat it because then I get crucified. I get crucified for repeating it.
So before we say goodbye, put in your plugs. Like when you guys are on, what's your schedule?
OnlyFans.
Where can people?
I go full body plug to OnlyFans at Big Chris. 99 cents for the subscription, and the other thing is free.
He doesn't know, man. I really want to try that with him. I really want to put him out there because I think that's the key to success right there.
You're kicking me out, motherfucker. You're kicking me out, bro.
There's a lot of people doing OnlyFans accounts, man. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But put in your plug. Where can the listeners and viewers find Breeze Shooters and everything else?
So on your Android iPhones, you could download the DTF app. We are our show airs every Monday from 4 to 5. That's Eastern Standard Time. You can find us on YouTube, Breeze Shooters Podcast. Please subscribe and like the show. You can find us on Facebook. Our Facebook page is Breeze Shooters Podcast. Again, follow us and we post our shows there. And if not, you can find us on IG every Saturday morning via the Social Nostra Network. And from there, we're on Ruko, we're on Spotify, all through the Social Nostra Network. And, more things to come. Make sure to look out for Daddy of the Year coming, hopefully for November. Me and Chris got a nice role on that. And then pretty soon, maybe our sitcom will take off for some time early next year.
Yo, can I plug something, bro?
Yeah, but you had OnlyFans.
Oh, my bad. OnlyFans, 99 cents plus tax.
Yeah. Listen, anybody that's going to be by the McDonald's on 4th Avenue and 38th Street, Chris is there every morning. 10 Happy Meals. It's all him. He got you. Just come by, hit Chris up. He'll take care of you.
He's the go-to guy. So if you want some breakfast Mickey D's, he's gonna sponsor you guys on that.
Oh my God!
But I'll be honest with you, I haven't laughed so hard in so long, man. I appreciate you guys coming out to our podcast, joining us. I know we have some technical difficulties. I put the signal out there, the Boricua flag signal. I put it out there, letting them know, like, yo, I was like, hey, come out. It worked because Boop answered me. He was like, yo, I'm having.
I saw the flag. I can't disappoint him. I can't disappoint him.
I was already, I was hitting Google Meets, and then I take a screenshot of it, and I send it to Lou, and I go, yo, Lou, these fucking guys forgot about us, bro. I'm not dealing with this shit. I'm going to take a shower. And he goes, yo, Chris, relax. Did you check your messages? And I'm like, oh, so now I got to download this shit? I'm going to take more memory out of my phone? But listen, thank you guys for Mike's microphone is not working. This fucking guy didn't say 3 words the whole fucking thing. What's going on, Mike?
Yeah, I got 3 y'all talking. So we got 3 y'all talking.
Okay, too much. You talk too much.
No, but we do appreciate it, man. Appreciate the love and support. I definitely would love if you guys can. We'd like to do a YouTube live. Probably sometime next week or so. I'll let you guys know. We'll set up the link and everything, so that way if you guys want to join us, and that will be, just us kicking it, reminisce, talk about everything and anything or whatnot, and Mike will talk a lot more in that session.
I hope so.
So,
Mike got that radio.
He does. It's very deep. It's very deep.
Yeah, like I said, thank you guys. Like I said, I think it's very important that the idea that, like, when everyone wants to start a podcast. I think it's like, just like OnlyFans. Everybody wants to start them because they see the success. But, really, a lot of people don't know, man. Like, you're going to get 5-10 views for a very long time. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's that concept of, like, and just like what you said, you got to be there, man. You got to be consistent. I think that's the hardest part about doing this is, like, you kind of expect, like, oh, well, I'm going to get Joe Rogan numbers. Oh, I'm going to get these numbers. And it's like, nah, man. You're going to get 5, 10, 15. And then when you're getting traction, you're getting 20. You're getting, you're hitting, like, milestones and increments. And I think that's one thing that we go through all the time. That's one things. And, going back to earlier what y'all said about, like, the veteran thing, man, that's my niche. That's our niche. Like, we just found one area. We're not trying to dabble into there saying, like, hey, these are politics. We don't know shit about that. But what we do know is, it's personal. I've had a drinking problem. I've had, suicide, like attempts and shit like that. I've done those things from military service and those things. And it's kind of that concept of, like, we'll just stick to what we know, and we know us, and going back to what we even do is, man, we're again, like, even nothing against most of the veteran out there, but they're all like the guys that are special forces, the guys who have been in the tier 1s, tier 2s kind of guys. We're not that. We're not, I don't, someone's like, hey, I need you to, like, cover this. So you know how to breach doors. Like, I don't know how to do none of that shit. I know how to make a call center. I know how to implement, like, logistics. But if you're asking me to breach a room and all those things, I'm looking at you like I'm lost. Like, we're regular guys. So, but yeah, just all that, man. Thanks, guys. Cause like I said, it's nice to know that you don't have to have this abundance, this business degree. You don't have this engineering. You just sit down with a phone and sit there saying, let's go. And I mean, honestly, the reason why y'all are where y'all at right now is because you're willing to do 3 years in. Like, I think that's the most key part that most people miss, hopefully, is that y'all were willing to sit down for 3 years and still keep going. And, like, man, it's awesome that you got, like, all these other things coming. Cause I like, imagine the idea of first episode, you sit down and sit there saying, like, actually the last 15 moves are going to be a documentary, movie parts. Like, that shit's like, it blows your mind in that idea. And I think that's where people start at the idea, I want to be in movies, and backtrack instead of saying, I'm just going to show up every day. And then next, documentaries on the, like, horizon. We got an actual movie. We actually got another one. We're on a net. Like, you get this idea, and I think that was really good. That's why I took away from all of that, and I hope everyone else takes away. Is just, you don't get where you're at right now because you thought about that. You got where you're at because you just showed up. Even though it looks like sometimes Chris didn't show up as much, maybe, but like it's imperative that you come as a group because like some people have to carry others. I know exactly what that feels like. My shoulder hurts. So
he's trying to say I'm the Chris in this relationship.
Wow.
Mike, you know what?
Don't accept that, Izzy.
Mike, I'm so upset because Chris had to stay quiet. We probably could have heard you speak more. Because, I mean, you're killing it, man. You're freaking just killing it.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry. I'm about to cut you up again.
No, you're good, man. Like you said, I'm just learning just to sit there and be quiet because, like, man, if you listen to some of the podcasts, like the first episode, like so Izzy was saying, we have the first episodes. Man, he gets like, when you start talking about mental health and these things, it gets super dark. But like at the end of the day, like just like y'all, man, like laughing is like the best thing in anything. Like if you're sad, cool, laughing. If you're upset, laughing. If you're depressed, cool. And a lot of things for us too as well is a lot of veterans, man, like we're regular people. And most of the things that we miss the most isn't anything but sitting down and bullshitting with our friends.
That's it.
So y'all same concept, the same thing that works for us too as well is like, that's what we miss. And I think that's human nature in general. Like we miss, like y'all probably miss all the people from the neighborhood. Y'all get together. First thing I do, talk about everything that went on. Yeah. And I think that's just human nature. We get into that concept together of like, man, we just want to be together. And unfortunately, not everybody has that talent to do those, right? It takes, as y'all have noticed, man, like when you're talking about the dead air, it's hard. It's hard to sit there and say, okay, man, I got 45 minutes. I got 55 minutes. I got to time it just right. And you're talking, and then like Izzy will be talking about something, and then I'm trying to talk, and I'm like looking at the time. I'm trying to make sure the concept is. You know what I mean, like there's more that involves than just two guys sitting down talking.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Hey, fellas, I got to scram because my dinner's ready. Oh
my God, Domino's at the door.
Takes priorities. Yeah.
Thank you for having us, man.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for having us. Send me the link for the live, all right?
Yeah, I'll reach out to you guys. Please definitely come back on and let's just keep shooting the shit, man, and just keep talking and everything else. But again, we appreciate it.
Always love, bro.
Mike, take care. Izzy, be good.
Take care.
All right. Nice
Chris,
meeting
stay
y'all.
away from McDonald's. Bye.
Fuck you, fat bastard.
Yeah, you're fat. Yo.
Yo, watch it.